Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our session with Michael today on this beautiful June. We have the 17th of June, 2023. And of course, I'm here in Minnesota in the northern part of the United States, and we're calling to Germany today. And we have Michael on the line. And Michael's got some very valuable information for us and the rest of the world having to do with Bruce Lee. And I think this is, what, the fifth session today, Michael?
Yeah, it should be. Hello, dear Brett. Hello, dear listeners. Actually, it's not only about Bruce Lee, but you will soon see that, I think, from the start of session 7 or 8. Because I would never have started that session if I would not have seen something which is even much more important and is also related to this event. Yeah. So,
well, it's interesting nonetheless because Bruce Lee is such a, I mean, the man just is full of charisma, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think that he is one of the main idols and been worshipped as a demigod. Yeah, I would clearly back up this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
But that is an image which has been created on purpose. Yeah, because
Yes.
it's just like a brand, like Coca-Cola or what else. Yeah, that is just an image that people would like to worship. Because everybody knows, yes, I want to be so good as Bruce Lee. We will also come across this in this session because I don't want to spend my life on going on to a Chinese actor, martial arts superstar. But there's much more behind it, which also leads to our current time. You can already guess that it has something to do with his ominous death, which is officially being declared as a death by misadventure by having him handed over one equagesic pill. That's an aspirin. That's a painkiller. And there's so much to it that I think usually people would never see and would far extend any other usual secular research that we really have to dig in, because then we see all the ties to modern media and the alike. Yeah? So let's get it on. I hope that there will come up some interesting stuff. Once again, this is the warning of a commentator who said, "You dare criticize Bruce Lee, prepare for the wrath of his legions of fanboys. They have already wrecked the dislike button and the comments belong to them." Why? Because many people, including me, when I was young, we were idolizing Bruce Lee because we have been bullied in our youth. So therefore we imagine that, if we could do karate or kung fu or any other thing, we would not been bullied around anymore. And so, of course, Bruce Lee was an identification figure for all the usual guys. You see that Arnold Schwarzenegger, on the other hand, maybe is very impressive of his body size, but not anybody has the size and the genes of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So for a regular guy standing 5'7.5", weighing a maximum weight of 140 pounds, everybody could identify with the stature of Bruce Lee, Brett.
Good point.
Yeah. Also, that was at the end of the 60s, beginning of the 70s, where, Summer of Love, Free Love, and all the things were floating around, so that many people was just having a good time. Well, he was in every movie, he was being presented bare-chested. Yeah, and he had an awesome physique, and that was not known in that time, in 1970s. People with six-packs abs. That was not common. Yeah, people with low body fat was not common in the 60s, 70s. That territorium belonged to bodybuilders, athletics guy, gymnasts and all the stuff. But you see that to be presented in that way on the cinema, that was a kind of a new rare feat. Yeah, so let's get it on. Yeah, that's why they are just presenting him as a statue and as a role model for all the people. And of course, once again, yeah, this is hard to see here because it is during the nighttime in Hong Kong. I think it is. Could be anywhere else because statues of him are floating around all over the world. They are positioned in Europe, on the 4 continents, if I remember correctly. And of course, he's also here bare-chested. So he's half naked here, you know, presenting his muscles. See what I mean? And it's just all about the ego. It's all about him expressing himself. Have faith in yourself. Yeah, it's nothing about God, worshipping God, who has given you the physics, the body in the first place. No, it is all about the self. Yeah, and why is this? That's quite obvious. Yeah, so first of all, let's go on to the humor sections. You see, everybody wants to be like Bruce Lee. Yeah, everybody wants to have abilities. Everybody wants to show up. Yeah, and it's just hilarious if you see all these videos of fake martial artists and all these people. Sometimes I have a hard time imagining that these people are seeing this for real. Maybe they are just some comedy actors, but it's just very, very obvious that many people are absolutely overdoing things and just simply like to show off. Yeah, this is a very old video. It's a very old video, I know, but what to say about it then that people want to be a star. And if you have these abilities that Bruce Lee and some other rare people have, yeah, of course he was going into the physical direction. I really have to show that because it's obvious that these people do not have any big abilities, but you see that nunchakus also would be Bruce Lee. This is the famous Swiss apple from Wilhelm Tell. Yeah. Yeah, and the apple does not fall far from the tree. Yeah, maybe these people would be handy on the construction site, I do not know. Yeah, so much so.
Poor guy.
But there is so much bullshit you will not you cannot imagine. Yeah, Sri Lanka's Got Talent with a pentagram on it. Sri Lanka's Got Talent. Once again, just for the heck of it. They want to be a superstar. Yeah, that means they want to be a fallen angel. Yeah, and he achieved that.
Huh.
Yeah. See the girl here with the third eye. Yeah, these are all worshippers of the self, to be enlightened. Yeah, Sri Lanka. Yeah, that's in Asia, guys. Just want to show this, just in comparison. Yeah, so I know nothing. It is very interesting to see that all these self-enlightenment, these Luciferian spirits, so to see, has been promoted big time. When you see it about these fake dim mak and fake martial arts and Frank Dux, he's very infamous. He retired as a world heavyweight full contact kumite champion, although this fight most likely never did happen. And he fought 329 matches and all that stuff. You see, this is all just opinion, and that has no substantial value in itself. Yeah, and this is the thing that when I started that, I realized that I want to sell you Kung Fu and the abilities of these masters, be it Tai Chi or what else, as a kind of a supernatural thing. And that's also not very far-fetched because you have to see for yourself that most of the people who are being presented in China are some related to the Shaolin monks. So we're talking about a monastery here. So we're clearly talking about a religion. And so not science is also only a religion, but martial arts, the arts of the Roman god, the art of the Roman war god Mars is also a worship of the Roman god Mars. So it's martial arts, it's a worship. So, and you see, this is just Hollywood. These are just effects. Of course, this is absolutely bullshido. We talk this. It's BS, it's bullshit. You see what's it all about? Oh, you have to destroy the upper stone. You have to destroy the lower stone. Oh, stone spread. Okay. And if you are 15, 16 years old, maybe you believe it. There's some kind of a death touch. Dim mak. That's also one of the rumors, these theories why Bruce Lee has died or any other people have died because of the deathly touch of a special trained monk or anything else. So you could kill somebody with your bare hands by just concentrating. You see, these were the BS theories that people have put in place long before the internet. That's my point. You see, we're talking about superstition here. We talk about supernatural events. And I got some more example. The example I now got is Sadhguru, a guy who has been seen as a guru. Maybe he's only a sad guru, but not a Sadhguru. He has been criticized for promoting a number of pseudo-scientific claims. Well, we have been accused of doing the same, so that is not just anything of value here, but that is just a guy who is practicing sun salutations. And he comes up with a different explanation of it all. Sadhguru exclusive, the secret behind Bruce Lee's lightning speed. Exclusive. He said, there was once an event where there was a man who fell into a swimming pool because Bruce Lee used the Manu Parukahu and the man will just fly. The man made him stand there, he was in a swimming pool, and then he sent that man flying. A 185-pound man went and fell into the pool with a 3-inch punch from that superhero Bruce Lee. Because Bruce Lee used the Manu Paruka. That's Sadhguru telling you. Manu Paruku is a so-called chakra in the body. So something which has not been detectable. It's just another religious belief system of the Asian people. Sadhguru speaks about Bruce Lee's incredible abilities to use the body and mind in a phenomenal way. Sadhguru exclusive. And he says, such a person who can use his force will not live long. So I'm not saying this only with the relation to him anyway. He is dead. That's easy to say, not in that context. Sadhguru exclusive. Innocently, they have shown these things in some other things. There are yogis who move it and you are using it, and so, one who moves his manipuraka should not move his body. If you move his body around, he will not last long. He has to go. So this is the wisdom of Sadhguru. This Sadhguru guy has a followership on YouTube of millions. He's an Indian yogi, a mysticism, and a best-selling author. He has founded the Isha Foundation, non-profit organization who distributes yoga programs on the entire earth and social initiatives, etc., etc. Manipuraka is the navel chakra, a synonym for Manipura chakra, the third energy centrum, where it is in the middle of your stomach. So that is the Manipuraka. So that is the secret of Bruce Lee. Case closed. according, of course, only for Sadhguru exclusive. And there are some things that you have to believe, that there are sutras, mantras, mudras, and that everything has some meaning and some effect, and that your body is only consisting of energy things. I'm not speaking about points in acupuncture who would work. I'm speaking about chakras and all the stuff which you really have to believe. And you have to believe in special powers, or in psychic powers also. You have to believe there is a chi, floating around the body in China. That's why it's called chi. Yeah, so that's the universal energy of life. That's why it's in China. And you can also call it Reiki. Then you are in Japan. Yeah. And it has names in other languages as well, who are now escaping me. Oh, it's organ. Yeah, in Europe. Yeah, that's very prominent in Europe. So it's everywhere around. It's in prana in India, if I remember correctly. I will look it up later. Yeah. So they're talking to you that your body has magical powers, that you only have to focus, and then you can create any of your imaginable abilities. So to be a superhuman, Brett. Does that sound familiar? That's not me talking about this. It's Sadhguru. Yeah, and that Sadhguru, we will look it up, not that I will make anything up, that Sadhguru on a Brutzeli, yeah, the secret behind the power of Sadhguru, yeah, has 2.4 million hits on YouTube, and he has a fellowship of 11.3 million subscribers. 11 million subscribers. So more than 2 or almost 2.5 million people have seen that video. Maybe 200 people will see our video, Brett. But that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, he's got a big fellowship. Immortal Dragon and all the stuff. These people that do not know anything about the Bible, I suppose. Yeah, Sadhguru. Sadhguru also tells you, or here's the English explanation. Located above the navel, Manipuraka, or Manipura translates from Sanskrit as the city of jewels, alternative translated as resplendent gem or lustrous gem. Manipura is often associated with the colors yellow, etc., associated with fire. Sorry, I don't go into all this stuff. Sadhguru also advised you, what if you get coronavirus? Yeah, and he answers to 7.6 million subscribers a long time ago in 2020. That's when I started that script, actually, in 2020. Yeah, he said the best thing to do if you get infected is to follow the doctor's advice and stay isolated so that the COVID-19 is not spread to others through you, Brett. So he talked about this to 7.6 million of subscribers. It's the same guy who sees himself as a guru, who said in the World Economic Forum of Klaus Schwab, they want more souls, I want less on that planet, and he was laughing out loud. Yeah? He wants less souls on the planet. So people whom he do not see as valuable have to go. So this is your guru, and he's a puppet of the World Economic Forum. I'm sorry, I do not mean to be rude, but if you won't like to see that, you won't see it. But these people are just puppets on a string. And these people will be founded, these people will be invited, these people have free speech. Yeah, and these people are influencing millions of people. Yeah, with their arguments against mankind. They want to get rid of people. It's the same thing as Bill Gates says, if we do a really good job on vaccines, we can lower the world's population by maybe 10 or 15%. And Sadhguru says, yeah, I want less souls on the planet. Although this guy is not educated because he lives in this fantasy world, people will accuse me of being in another fantasy world. He's living in a fantasy world where the Earth is spinning because he's speaking on a planet. Yeah, but these people serve a satanic agenda to get rid of people and to delude people, to deceive people.
So that's why they call it a planet, Michael, is because they're planning this stuff. And they have to tell you in your face, oh, yeah, we want less souls.
Yeah, he told right in the open. You can look to that video. Yeah, it's a conversation with Sadhguru at the World Economic Forum, India's Economic Summit. Yeah, at 3 minutes and 6 seconds. He says, I want less on the planet. Yeah, I think it's very important. 3 minutes 6. Yeah, so I can prove everything that I'm claiming. So that's the serious condition that people have to be aware of, that there are many, many people who claim themselves to be supreme, brighter, smarter, or what else, and that they claim they can really decide who's going to go and who's going to stay on this so-called planet. Yeah, and he says it's all for the sake of the nation and the sake of humanity. Yeah, responsibility and all this stuff. So he's a puppet. He's like a puppet from the Pope.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, keep sufficient distance. It doesn't matter your friend or foe. Yeah, minimal contact with people, distancing. Yeah, you see that this guy is talking about Manipura energy from Bruce Lee and all the stuff. And he has followers of more than 10 millions. Yeah, sorry guys, you are all been deluded. And he talks about Bruce Lee. Getting back to the video here, Bruce Lee's lightning speed now. He's talking about Bruce Lee like an almost superhuman. Does that sound familiar? Yeah? Bruce Lee, a martial arts phenomenon. In another video. Or Mr. Harari here, also working for the Work on an Economic Forum of Klaus Schwab and also working with the papacy and the Vatican. He says we are upgrading men to gods. Yeah, we are upgrading humans to gods. Yeah, that's what Mr. Yuval Noah Harari says. Yeah, and Sadhguru says Bruce Lee was almost superhuman. Sure. So in the next step, I can imagine that people say that, okay, yeah, now I'm a skinny guy like Bruce Lee. Maybe I can then beat up heavy guys or bullies. Yeah. So people who are really diehard fans, like this #1 fan channel on the internet called Beardy, I suppose that this guy has a beard. He's coming up with extreme interesting content, but not necessarily correct content. And his claim, his opinion is that nobody, no human on this planet, again, yeah, guy is deluded, not knowing anything of the Bible, no human on this planet would stand a chance against Bruce Lee in a fight. How can anybody tell this, yeah, when there are much more heavier guys around who have decades of experience fighting somebody for real, for money, and are in life-threatening situations every day? How can anybody claim this? Yeah, a 140-pound guy versus a 250 or 300-pound guy. Much more bigger, much more reach, much more experience and all the stuff. This is delusional, but you see how die-hard fans they are. Yeah, you see that I have to prepare of legions of fanboys putting their wrath on me and putting bad comments and negative thumbs all over the place. But then you are not realistic. Bruce Lee is a movie actor. He did not have decades of experience like a Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Morrison. I know many boxers, and I know boxers in person. It's a different situation if you do something for training or somebody is out there who gets paid money, yeah, to hit you right in the face and that's blood all over the place. That's an extreme situation. I'm not taking anything away of the abilities of Bruce Lee, but you have to be realistic. We are just facing with people who are claiming us that Bruce Lee was superhuman, that he could beat anybody, and this is it's total fantasy. It's fantasy. Yeah, Beatty also claims that Steven Seagal had a real fight with Bruce Lee. So there are no substantial claims that Steven Seagal actually fought Bruce Lee, and that's also hilarious because Steven Seagal was way more younger than Bruce Lee. But that just, you see, people tell you everything. Yeah, Bruce Lee was extremely fast. That's why he was called Bruce Three Kicks, because he could liver kick so fast. People would tell you that he was almost superhuman because he could lift somebody. This is on the stage of Enter the Dragon in Hong Kong. He could lift up a man. And yeah, you would say that, oh yeah, that requires a lot of strength. But, and I have a big but with that picture here, because you do not see the entire picture, Brett. That is not just lifting up a man. I will decrease that picture. Look at his feet. Yeah, he has lifted his right feet, so it could also be that there was somebody approaching him, pretends to fly over him, and that they two work both in cooperation. You see? But it's just easy to have a picture and everybody said, oh, he was like Hercules, he was ultra strong and all this stuff. Of course, that guy was very skilled and he was very strong for his size. But pictures and movies can easily fool you. I can show you somebody who has real strength if these photos are correct, but I have seen other people achieving this feat, and I would say in comparison, that's another kind of a level of strength. Would you agree on that, Brett?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So these horses, they are weighing around, I think, 1,000 pounds. We're not speaking about a 200-pound man, but a 1,000-pound horse. And I know of other people who did that. Yeah, so they want to sell you all these images and idols beyond their own abilities as Superman, that they will ease you of all pain and that they will solve all your problems. Yeah, so it's like in these magic bullet scene from Matrix, and Matrix means womb. And by the way, this movie has been made with several biblical references. Nah? That guy is called Neo, the One. Yeah, so the savior. That's why he has dark sunglasses on. Yeah, so he's not the savior. That Matrix movie is also extremely spoofed. Everything has been mixed around. The good guy has been called Morpheus, but Morpheus is the lord of the underworld. So that is Satan. And the ship is called Nebuchadnezzar. That's also biblical reference of an old pagan Babylonian king. But the woman is called Trinity, so it's also a pagan concept. But people just look at these fancy words and said, "Oh yeah, that was a great scene when the bullets missed him because he was another dimension." Yeah, he was superhuman. Keanu Reeves was superhuman. Although his so-called boyfriend has allegedly been sacrificed. Yeah, I think that we have talked about that during David Bowie sessions. If not, it's not that important. I just want to show you this. This is just all this stuff. People will claim that Bruce Lee was so fast that he had to slow down because he could not be catched by the camera, and so therefore these people have always and already been manipulating his movies because he was so fast, and nobody is so fast as Bruce Lee. I have seen very fast fighters, and I believe that there are some people out there who are at least as fast as Bruce Lee was. But you see that he's been sold as an idol. Why he was so fast, it's very obvious. I have seen dozens of videos and movies about it. Somebody, I can't remember the name of this mister here, he says he could read you before you surfed or before you had sparred or anything. He could read you. That's the main thing here. So that's what I told you last time. Well, to be very fast, you have to counterattack an attack. Yeah, not to defend yourself, but to have a counterattack. So in the minute that somebody is trying to hit you, you are hitting him. Yeah, not wait until the other guy or girl or whoever has delivered his punch or his action, but you have to hit him immediately, as immediately if you realize that somebody is starting an action towards you. So he moved his body, his shoulder, he blinking his eye and all the stuff, so he could read you. Yeah, and that is the only thing that fighters have to do. They have to read their opponent in order to beat and defeat them. Yeah, so he was very fast in just realizing with his eyes, with his senses, yeah, that somebody is going up to take any action towards him. So that guy also said it's different because he would be very lucid. Yeah, I found that very interesting, Brett. He was very lucid. Yeah, comes from Lucifer. Yeah, so that guy again. Yeah, he was very clear, he was very transparent, he was very understandable and translucent, and what else he meant by that. So, show that to you.
The camera lens right here, and tell us your name, your age, and where you were born.
My last name is Lee, Bruce Lee. I was born in San Francisco in 1940. I'm 24 right now.
And you worked in motion pictures in Hong Kong?
Yes, since I was around 6 years old.
And when did you leave?
Yeah, so he came
from it's
a,
bad to say the best, but...
He came from a family of actors. That's not what I meant. I'm just looking for his speed and abilities. You really have to admire for the guy for what he did best. He could really impress people. He was extremely fast.
Yeah.
These are just natural reactions.
That's
right. That is natural.
Right into the camera. Cheat into the camera a little bit and show this again.
All right.
Go ahead.
There is the finger jab. There is the punch. There is the back fist and then low. Of course, then they use leg straight at the groin or come up. Or, if I can back up a little bit, they start back from here and then come back.
All right.
It's kind of worried.
He has nothing to worry about. Now, once again...
And he was an actor. He did also an impersonation of James Dean. When he was young, he was born 1940. So when the James Dean movies were broadcasted in 1954, 55, yeah, he was a teenager, 14, 15 years old. And now I found a very interesting old German book, which I have in my possession. That book is from 1994. And that book is the title Phenomenon, The World of the Unexplainable. And on one of these chapters of that book I found, can man be buried alive and survive? Can somebody be hit or KO'd by directly hitting it? And there are some means to increase the ability of the human body. And every man is Superman. Yeah, you see here a yogi in contemplation. Yeah, you see guys kicking around on a construction site, and of course you can imagine why I have shown that book here to you, yeah, with gurus and inner fire and biofeedback and all the stuff. And then you guess it, yeah, there's a picture of Bruce Lee in it, yeah. Kung Fu are one of the many martial arts where the power has been reached through spiritual training and potential. Yeah, you see, every man is Superman. Positive thinking, yeah, iron will, and all this stuff. Yeah, and so that was just from the German books. They are selling you martial arts as a spiritual thing that you can achieve the status of a Superman, Brett. In a book which I have not looked in for 20 years or so. And also very interesting because our German sister Stephanie came up lately with the fact that she told me, oh, have you something heard? There's something new tumbling around here on the internet. There are now not only black holes but white holes. And I have not depicted it here, but you can imagine that from that book from 1994 already they have stated white holes in it. So it's not a new theory, but it's extreme old theory. And it's just only a theory like the theory of evolution and the Big Bang and all the other stuff. Yeah, it's just a theory. It has nothing to do with the truth. Yeah. So, what did they do with Bruce Lee? Well, he became known as an iconic figure throughout the world, partly, of course, among the Chinese, based upon his portrayal of Chinese nationalism in his films, and among American Asians for defying stereotypes associated with the emasculated Asian male. Yeah, he was the first one who was sexy on screen. Yeah. Hitting other people, destroying people, flying around, kicking, hitting, and yelling and all the stuff. That's masculine. And it's sexy because he had six-pack abs. Ask any women outside, what do you think of six-pack abs? And at least the younger will say that, oh yeah, that's what I like. Yeah. So before Bruce Lee, the Chinese actors has been stereotype cast as only villains. Yeah. If they were Chinese, and most of the times they weren't. This is Christopher Lee here from British heritage. Of course, he was coming from Italy, from the house of Carandini. He was from nobility, of Dr. Fu Manchu, so a villain. And Kung Fu, the complete collections of an Asian monk who went to the West in the 19th century. That was played by David Carradine, also not a Chinese actor. Yeah. And Breakfast at Tiffany's was also played not by a Chinese actor but by Mickey Rooney. I have forgotten to insert a picture here. And this is Charlie Chan's favorite son. Yeah, so you see that that is usually these people were pictured as villains, or that's maybe the one example where the Chinese actor could be acting smart as a detective, Charlie Chan. Yeah, but usually in the 1960s, when Bruce Lee was having its go and started in the United States, there was a TV series. Maybe you do remember it, Brett. That was Bonanza, the card rides. Yeah, and they had a Chinese cook, Hop Sing. Yeah, he always claims that he will quit his job, and that was a running gag on that television show. Yeah, but he was always only the cook, yeah, and the other ones were in charge. They were running the ranch, and he was just a servant, yeah. So he got 4 masters. So the master and his 3 sons in that television series, yeah, and he was just a servant. And I think that is a high probability that Bruce Lee was just having it the other way around, because then in his 1972 movie, The Way of the Dragon, together with Chuck Norris, he was protecting a Chinese restaurant in Italy, in Rome. Yeah, so he was the master coming from China to protect other Chinese people who are running a restaurant. Yeah, when 10 years ago it was Hop Sing serving only as the servant of the American masters as a cook. Far-fetched? It's just do your own research. But I think that's just not by coincidence. Yeah, it's the way of the dragon, huh? The dragon is one of the 5 animals of Kung Fu. There are dragons, cranes, tigers, snake, and monkeys. Yeah, and everybody has his own characteristics. Yeah, so dragon is not only the animal of the Chinese astrology, but also an animal in spiritual Kung Fu. Powerful, light, and quick, trains the spirit of mind. So that is Bruce Lee's animal. That's the dragon. And he was born in the year of the dragon, in the hour of the dragon. And his nickname was Little Dragon. Yeah. We have talked about that he was born in San Francisco during a trip where his father, serving the Chinese opera, was having some publications in San Francisco Chinatown. Then he had early roles as a child from the age of 2 months until the age we left Hong Kong at the age of 18. Among them, the first one was, we have talked about that elaborately, Golden Gate's Girl. GGG 777, Esther Eng. That's the grave of Esther Eng. And Brett, I think that you can assume that she was a kind of a Catholic. Mm-hmm. Esther asked Bruce Lee to play the baby girl in Golden Gate Girl. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, so that is Bruce Lee at the age of 2 months. So he was destined to become an actor. She died at the age of 55 in New York City. Yeah, so much so. And I thought from the beginning that she must have real good connections to the industry, and the industry means to special how to say that, brotherhoods in the United States, yeah, to special collaborations of people in the movie industry. Usually these people, they serve a certain brotherhood. So then he was getting his education in Kung Fu. After attending his Tak Sun school, Lee entered the primary school division of Catholic La Salle College, so he was raised Catholic at the age of 12. So when he was visiting a Catholic school at the age of 12, due to poor academic performance and possibly poor conduct, he was transferred to St. Francis Xavier College, where he would be mentored by Brother Edward, a teacher and coach of the school boxing team. In 1958, Bruce won the Hong Kong school's boxing tournament, knocking out the previous champion in the final. This is St. Francis Xavier's College, one of the first Jesuits who ever visited China or Asia. So he got a Jesuit education, at least for 2 years, 56, 57 and a bit of 58. Their motto is gentle in manner, resolute in action. That is very spot on to martial artists, I suppose. And it was a brand new school that has been also only established in 1955. Yeah, this is St. Francis College, SFX. The school was founded by Jesuit fathers in 1874. Later in 1893 by Maris brothers. And then these brothers were forced to leave Shanghai and moved to Hong Kong in 1949. The college was rebuilt. Yeah, and was named St. Francis Xavier College to emphasize the direct link with St. Francis Xavier College in Shanghai. And that is not Francis of Assisi. This is just the Jesuit Francis Xavier, where supposedly Pope Francis got his name from. Or San Francisco, by the way. So that means that the birth town of Bruce Lee, San Francisco, has a direct connection to St. Francis Xavier College. It's all Francis. Francisco. Francis Xavier College. Yeah, it's even here, St. Francis Xavier College. Yeah, it's even Francis Co. So that's the motto, and this is a school song of the school that Bruce Lee had visited. I don't think that you want to read that, Brett.
Oh, geez. Yeah, let us sing jubilation, a song of duty done, a song of exaltation, of laurels fought and won, yes. Laurels, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting word there,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Of many glorious years in store, a song to sound from shore to shore. They've carved out a name in the roll of fame, the boys of St. Francis Xavier's. Okay, and it continues in verse 2. Uplift your voices to proclaim and let the whole world heed in class, the field, at work, and at play. St. Xavier's take the land, yet not alone for worldly fame. Success or honor, wealth or name, for God and our faith, first place we claim. The boys of St. Francis Xavier's. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is that enough?
Yeah, that's enough. Can you imagine that it's Xavier's sounds phonetically identical to Savior?
Right. That's right.
Today I looked it up, read St. Francis College in English, and look what they told us here. Prayers. Students usually offer a short prayer before classes or in morning assemblies with Our Father, and will usually end the prayer with Saint Marcellin Champagnat, pray for us, and Saint Francis Xavier, pray for us. Images and idols.
Well, you see what ritualistic things do to the mind, Michael.
Yeah.
I think you and I can both vouch for that, having attended ritualistic type church services for years. Is that correct?
Sure, I was in the Catholic Church until I was 24, so yes.
Yeah, see. And any of our listeners can vouch for that as well, because when you become part of the ritual, then it just seems so natural, doesn't it?
Because
You
everybody's
don't
doing it.
question anything. You don't question anything.
No. No. But they are praying to saints, dead saints, yeah? In the Roman Catholic Church, the
Necromancy,
dead are
yes.
the saints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's necromancy,
Yeah.
which is forbidden in the Bible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So in the spring of 1959, before he left Hong Kong, Lee got into another street fight and the police were called. Until his late teens, Lee's street fight became more frequent and included beating the son of a feared triad family. Comes from the book Fighting Spirit. One day, one of us was beaten up by a gang from Kowloon. Bruce and the others went off to get revenge. At first, Bruce approached them as if to talk it over, but when we got close enough to the two biggest ones, he hit them without warning. These two turned out to be the family of the local triad, and William Chong's father, a high-ranking policeman, had to step in and mediate to prevent trouble escalating. Can you imagine last session or so when you talked about that? Yeah, it took considerably doings to erase Bruce's name from any list in the police. Yeah, now you know why, because one of his best friends was the son of a high-ranking policeman. And he was always in for a fight. So that guy, Bruce Lee, was not into argument or what else. He got into street fights. You never had to ask Bruce twice about a fight, said his younger brother Robert. So I think that he's got a certain temper. The police detective came in and he says, "Excuse me, Mr. Lee, your son is really fighting bad in school. If he gets into just one more fight, I might have to put him in jail." And officially, that's the reason why Bruce Lee moved over to the United States. Although I think that one of only the other reasons is that he wanted to proclaim his United Nations citizenship by birth. Making just a short announcement that we would just like to show you some of this career highlights. In 1964, he was at the in the Long Beach Championships, and he was demonstrated the famous one-inch punch to people. Yeah, and you really have to realize that he's coming not only from a martial arts background, but from an actor family. So he knows absolutely to set him into the spotlight. Yeah, look at the guy who's falling over in the chair, and that looks much more dramatically as if somebody would have been pushed back. Yeah, and that is also not a push by itself. It's not a punch, in my humble opinion, but more of a push. Yeah, so he knew exactly how to position him, and if it looks the best. Yeah, this is a 6-inch punch. Yeah, it's more than 6 inches, and it's just not only a punch because he's using his entire body, of course. And this creates a dramatic effect with the chair because the man has clearly to fall onto the chair. So it's just a dramatic thing added to the whole scene. So that established then Bruce Lee as one heck of a martial artist, of course. But that is not martial arts here. This is just a demonstration which should impress people. Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from that man. I'm just trying to show you the fact that he mostly was looking for the artistical effect as being an actor. He wanted to achieve world stardom. He wanted to be world famous. Yeah, he does not want to be the best cage fighter. He wanted to be world famous. He wanted to have the most money in his possession, and so he could achieve that by using his ties in the industry, by just combining his martial arts skills with being an actor. So afterwards, he went to 20th Century Fox, 1965, yeah, for the role of Kato, a Chinese sidekick, for the Green Hornet series. Yeah, so that is the Green Hornet car, and that is Bruce Lee in disguise. So then came Batman and Robin, one episode, then Ironside. And then Here Comes the Bride. These were just minor roles because Hollywood was not ready for a Chinese actor having the star role. Then with one movie with James Garner in Marlowe, where he was kicking in the air some kind of a light here. Then Longstreet in 71 to 72. And then his career took a big step forward in then Hong Kong. And that's where we talk about now. In 1970, according to the most biographical papers, he crushed his fourth sacral nerve by the Good Mornings training exercise, where you bend over with a long bar on your neck. Yeah, it's like saying good morning to somebody. And he crushed this because he was not warmed out properly and all the stuff. The problem is that people rely to this as his long time illness. But when you see a paper of him, then it was not he hurt my lower back from tons of exercises in brackets. Yeah, you can read it here. Yeah, but it's not hinder me too much. Yeah, so it was not that dramatically that it has been spotted in many false movies. They claim that somebody has hit him in the back and therefore he could not walk for months, and then he had to write his book. And this is all BS. This is all BS. Because there's one guy who should know it, and that guy is the name of Tom Baker. That's the second husband to Bruce Lee's widow. And he says, no, it's not about a back injury of an exercise of Good Mornings. It was just a sexual encounter he had. And afterwards he went to the doctor. I have the personal papers from him with the doctor. And this is another myth of the internet. And he says that he's having a bet with anybody for, I think it was more than $10,000, who was just trying to... what is it, Brett, if you have a bet and somebody is challenging you, huh? So he's been challenging everybody to prove that it was about training when it was about a sexual encounter he had. Yeah, so many internet things are not the way they seem. Yeah, look at that picture here from later than 1970-71. Yeah, does it look like somebody has hurt his back extremely severe?
No, of course not.
Yeah, so in 1971, Lee pitched a television series of his own tentative talent, The Warrior, discussing of which was also confirmed by Warner Brothers. During a December 1970 interview on the Pierre Burton Show, Lee stated that both Paramount and Warner Brothers wanted him to be in a modernized type of thing and that the Western idea was about to do it as a Western. Before I go into this, I promised you Deuteronomy. So when his wife was getting pregnant, or was already pregnant, then they had an encounter with her parents. And of course they were not very, very delighted about the news. They asked her to put a marriage off for a year, have your baby, and then see how you feel. They would rather be a single mother and raise a bastard child than marry a ne'er-do-well Chinaman. And Linda said, no, I will not wait. As the hours wore on and the tears and recriminations flowed, her uncle offered to take Linda for a drive to reason with her. Her uncle considered himself a devout Christian. You know that it means Catholic. This is against God's words, he told in the car. God doesn't want the races to mix. You are committing a sin. And Linda responds with, God loves all his children. Her uncle quoted Deuteronomy 7:3-4, and we shall read this.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land, whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Aramites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, Thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall give unto thy son. For they will turn away with thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly.
Yeah, that was the argument against the marriage. Because Bruce Lee was not a Christian nor a Catholic. He went to a Catholic school, yes, but he declared himself to be an agnostic. Or an atheist, so he declared himself that he does not believe in any God. It's just all about self-enlightenment. And what's really strange then is that you know that this guy died a few years later, and that his son, or their mutual son, has also been killed. But that's in the biography here. That's in the biography. Yeah, and Linda says, I don't believe that. Everyone is equal in the eyes of the Lord, and God commands us to treat anyone equally. And she was being warned, you will be kicked out of the family. Yeah, well, what do you do when you are already pregnant, huh?
It's a little too late.
It's a little too late. Yes, I'm glad then that I'm not a woman. Yeah, that I have to cope with this extreme situation. Yeah, it's too late. Yeah, that's it actually. Yeah. So this is Warner Brothers depicted as devils. Yeah. So all these movies are about death, evil, and destruction. Yeah. And there are so hilarious scenes in it when he's been hitting somebody through the wood bread. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole depicting a guy. No. Yes, Fist of Fury, he's using puppets. It's been cut. People cut puppets, swing around, tossed around, and then there are people landing here. So it's just, it's Hollywood, huh? It's more or less Hollywood, yeah? You can clearly see that it is a puppet here. But it's just Hollywood. It's just Hollywood. Yeah? Rage, revenge, death. Mm-hmm. And then we got Way of the Dragon Bread. Finally, we are in the Colosseum, echoes a sound of a fight to the death. Where do we know the Colosseum and echoes and sound of a fight to the death know from?
Where else?
Where else?
Rome.
Yeah, Rome. Bruce's initial story concept for Way of the Dragon was based on the Warrior TV series he had pitched to Ted Ashley, Ted Ashley from Warner Brothers. The 19th century Chinese Kung Fu masters flees from the fading Qing dynasty to San Francisco, Holy Francis, where he protects Chinese immigrants from exploitation. Yeah, but it did not happen because it was far too early for a Chinese actor. He said Kirk Douglas' Colosseum battle in Spartacus gave Bruce the idea for a final fight between himself and a Western bad guy. More importantly, Italy fit with his Eastwood strategy of conquering Hollywood. Yeah. Eastwood, spaghetti westerns made in Italy. Yeah, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think that is quite well known. Yeah. He said that, okay, then if Hollywood is not ready for me, I'll go to Hong Kong and make it big there. And then I come back and be a superstar like Eastwood. You just watch me. Bruce intended Way of the Dragon to be a spaghetti Eastern, the movie that would gain him traction in the West. Yeah, so he was playing the part of Tang Lung, which means China Dragon. So he was teaming up with Chuck Norris there. Can you read what Chuck Norris has imprinted on his t-shirt? Okay, so that was in the Colosseum, although they have built that also in Hong Kong, so they just shot some out scenes and the rest is just a picture here on the background. It's just movie, guys. Chuck Norris claiming himself to be a Christian, evangelical Christian. Norris has visited Israel and voiced support for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So he's into political actions also. He's supporting, Bush family. Oh, great.
I saw that.
Yeah. In Way of the Dragon, Lee introduced Norris to moviegoers as his opponent. Their showdown is considered one of the fight scenes in martial arts film history. The role has been originally been offered to American karate champion Joe Louis, but Joe Louis declined because he thought that Bruce Lee had an affair with his wife, and I think that his wife was to blame because she set it up, and it was most likely not true. But then Norris got the role. Chuck Norris versus Bruce Lee, another encounter. Yeah. And there are people out there who are really guys who are very educated in the martial arts, like this guy here, are showing the notebooks of Bruce Lee that he had dates with Chuck Norris, so that he was actually the trainer of Chuck Norris, although Norris has denied that because maybe some kind of a pride. Yeah. So that guy is very much into martial arts. It's one of the best channels out there with many, many interviews. The channel has been given the name KFG, which means Kung Fu Genius. Yeah, and Chuck Norris then decades later is explaining, yes, it's true that Bruce Lee was training me, and yeah. And some other fan site, Beardy, is here showing a picture of Bruce Lee having a real fight, or so it seems, with Chuck Norris, and that Chuck Norris got punched in the face or kicked in the face or whatever. But that does not look very healthy. So, just for the general introduction. Jim Kelly, another American martial arts master of the 1970s, he says, in my opinion, there's never been anybody, in my opinion, like Bruce Lee. He has won several karate championships and then started a career on its own with kind of a black Bruce Lee, then black belt Jones. In 1971, he fought 4 prestigious championships that same year, the World Middleweight Karate title in 1971, Long Beach. So he said he was unbeatable. Yeah, Bruce Lee was unbeatable. Yeah, he was so fast. And other people are supporting the claim and said, yeah, I have watched the fight, or a friend of mine has watched the fight with Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris was actually defeated by Bruce. Yes. Yeah, and became a student even though he didn't admit it. And that's pride. That's nothing but pride. Yeah. You see, when really high-level, first-class, world-known martial artists are having good things to say about Bruce Lee, for example, here Judo Gene LeBell, been here working as an actor, you see that guy has to be awesome. He was a martial artist, not a fighter. This is an interview here of one of the best fighters of the 1970s. The name is Joe Louis. When I talked about that, he initially should have gotten the role in the movie Way of the Dragon in Rome. And he was asked about Bruce Lee. He said, I trained with Bruce Lee from 68 to 69, and he and I had a falling out. Yeah, that was because of his wife, his jealous wife or what else. Did you learn a lot from Bruce? And he said he was too he was too philosophical, meaning he was too abstract in his communications, but he had fabulous ideas. As a martial artist, I consider him one of the all-time greats. Do you think he would have made a good full-contact fighter? And Louis answered no, because I don't think he could have taken a good punch. That's also my argument. Why do you say that? And Louis says his skinny neck and his skinny jaw, his neck was just too long. You just don't see long neck people up there on top. Well, nobody can find out, but that's the thing that he got into martial arts. The thing is, nobody knows if he could take a good punch, a real good punch, by a heavyweight or what else. I got a magazine here. It's a Washington Star, printed in Washington, D.C. on August the 16th, 1971, of course, not 1771. So Washington Star. And there we read the following. It's an article. Chuck Norris and, it would be Mike Stone here, the former bodyguard or karate teacher of Priscilla Presley, who had an affair with Priscilla Presley, Elvis Presley's wife, have between them won every major karate tournament in the United States at least once. Lewis was grand national champion 3 successive years. So speaking of Chuck Norris, Mike Stone and Joe Louis. So the first row of the American karate practitioners in the 1970s. And this Washington D.C. paper, Washington Star, says in 1971, Lee, speaking of Bruce Lee, handles and instructs these guys almost as a parent would do a young child, or a parent would a young child. Lee handles and instructs these guys, Chuck Norris, Mike Stone, Joe Louis, world champions, almost as a parent would a young child. And that's what I found. So don't come up with the idea that that guy was just an actor. He wasn't. Yeah. Some fun. So, Colosseum and fight to the death. Speaking of Italy. Yeah. Speaking of Italy. Speaking of Italy, or fake Italy. Yeah. Speaking of fake martial arts scenes, because if somebody approaches you with a knife, yeah, you don't make this kind of action and then throw your wooden rack onto his back, would you? That guy still has a knife in his arms. Yeah, so it's just movie. It is not the kind of fight that he would deliver if he was being attacked by somebody. So this is the infamous Colosseum, where I do not know how many Christians had been slain. And this is Chuck Norris, an epic showdown of an American claiming to be himself as an evangelist against a Chinese guy claiming to be not having any faith in God at all. This is the Colosseum. With the gladiators. Gladio means sword. We know that from the Kennedy sessions. That means sword. And there were lions too, whom the real Christians were being fed too. Yeah, and Colosseum, I had an interesting time of the Colosseum. I said, well, just hang on, that is so obvious. Of course, it's colossal. Yeah, that's okay. But look at the origin of the word. Colosseus gigantic, perhaps a reference to the colossal statue of Nero that long stood nearby. And then see Colossus. Colossus, a gigantic statue. From Greek, Colossus, gigantic statue of unknown origin. The Greek word was used by Herodotus of giant Egyptian statues and by Romans of the bronze Helios at the entrance of the harbor of Rhodes. And that is, of course, the Coloss of Rhodos, meaning a depiction of Helios, the sun god. So, the Coloss of Rhodes, in German it's Rhodos, yeah, one of the ancient 7 world wonders, bread. Yeah, it's nothing else but Helios, the sun god. Or Apollo, and name any other similar name. Yeah, so that is a stadium. It's a place of worship for the Roman sun god. Yeah, it's like that we are in France, huh? With the Arc de Triomphe. Oh my, it's all the same. Yeah, that you know, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The altar of the fatherland it was, I think, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That would
At least they are using a Pontiac bread, so something American.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, that is all just veneration of images and idols.
Of course.
You see that it's not just only Spartacus bread, but it's just that Christians have been killed there. And the fact is that there is a fight to the death there with Chuck Norris. With a Christian, so to speak. Yeah, he claims to be himself evangelical. Yeah, that's what I always see when I look at the Colosseum. That that is just a Roman place of worship and of killing. So then you have finally then, after Way of the Dragon, you have then Enter the Dragon. Yeah, and it starts with the Shaolin monk temple. Yeah, so religion once again, Buddhism, Taoism, with a temple. Yeah, and he's using here a body double. Yeah, so he does not make the action on its own. He's using a stunt double, and he said that you have to. Yeah, so another stunt double here, Yuan Wah. He did not deliver this, but it's been all sold as Bruce Lee the Superman does his own stuff. Also, Jackie Chan does not own every time does not do his own stunts. Yeah, so there are also stuntmen involved. Yeah, you see here with the microphone. Yeah, these are movies. People don't fight like this, and you make these strange noises and all this stuff. Yeah, and if you are really hit, yeah, that hurts like something, I can tell you. Yeah, so it's just a movie. Yeah, people think they take it for granted. Yeah, this is just a movie. It has to look fancy, and it's dangerous as well, as there are snakes involved. Yeah, Jackie Chan has been here killed in that scene. This is Jackie Chan. Yeah, there he is using a puppet. It's unbelievable. But what does Enter the Dragon mean, Brad? Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Enter the Dragon. It's like Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones says, please allow me to introduce myself in Sympathy for the Devil. Please allow me to introduce Satan. It's Enter the Dragon. Yeah, I know that they claim that the dragon is a mythical animal and it's just a part of a kung fu style. Yeah, but Enter Dragon would mean that you've been entered by Satan, and that Satan would enter. And as Satan is a spirit, Satan can only enter a living being. He cannot enter through the front door and said, "Hi, I'm Satan. How are you?" Yeah, when Luke 22:3 speaks about then entered Satan into Jesus, he entered into his body as a spirit. So he was then possessed.
You said Judas, Michael. You said Judas, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's sounded almost like you said Jesus.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, Judas. Yeah, in German it is Judas. Yeah, so
Nice.
it's Judas in English. In German it is
I
Judas.
see.
Yeah,
Got
okay.
it.
So then entered Satan into Judas. Yeah, so Enter the Dragon is clearly, if you see it from a biblical way, it's then been possessed by Satan. And
Or
the
the
movie
devil,
is
yeah.
only about killing, and more killing. It's about drugs, it's about killing,
Well, yeah, there you go. It's about death, isn't it?
it's about death, yeah.
Game of death, yeah.
Yeah, Game of Death is the last picture, but this is a picture called Enter the Dragon. But nevertheless,
Enter the devil, enter the Satan.
Yeah. In John 13:27, we read the following line. And after the sop, Satan entered into him.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same G, so Greek, going Greek, 1525. Eiserkomai. Yeah, this means to enter, literally or figuratively, arise, come in, enter in, go in. Yeah, so it does not mean to somebody knock to the door, but it just means that somebody will be possessed by Satan. Yeah. So what do you think if a movie has been called Enter the Dragon, and you know that in the biblical terms dragon and Satan means the devil? Dragon, serpent, devil, Satan, always the same name for an entity which is just a spirit which can possess living beings. Yeah. And then the last movie is of course then Game of Death. So it's all negative. It's a big boss, it's Fist of Fury, it's the way of the dragon or the way of Satan, it's Enter the Dragon or Enter Satan, and it's a game of death. So what do you expect? It's just all negative. The martial arts are not being used to just demonstrate or to just self-defense. It is just to kill people. Every time he's killing people. In every movie, he is constantly killing people. Game of Death. What do you expect? Brett, what does Game of Death mean? Look at the capital letters. G-O-D.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is just, nobody fights like this, of course. This is just in for the camera. Yeah. And now this very famous martial artist from the Philippines. His name is Danny Innocento. Yeah, with his nunchakus. Yeah, and this is one of the scenes here. Bruce Lee allegedly killing somebody with an armbar, which is a move which is very famous here. Anderson Silva in the mixed martial arts. Yeah, so this is Danny Innocento. Yeah, I was very intrigued by that name. Can you imagine what that means here? Innocento.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming from the Republic of the Philippines. Look what I found. Catholicism became the dominant religion and Manila became the western hub of trans-Pacific trade. I said, aha, okay, interesting. It's a founding member of the United Nations. I said, oh, I did not know that. Look.
Oh, wow.
Santo. In Portuguese, for example, it means holy. And 49.
Yeah, that's right. It's howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet. Heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. What house will ye build me, saith the Lord? Or what is the place of my rest?
Yeah, what strikes me is not only the verse, but the outcome of it. Yeah, because that was Stephen who was telling the people then, and that is the outcome here.
I see. Oh, yes.
So imagine what that means if you talk about somebody of this, of the Roman Catholic Church, for example, or another temple. What else kind of a temple? It's not different if it is a Roman Catholic temple, an evangelical temple, a Jehovah's Witness temple, or Königssaal, it's been said here, so it's a room of the king, or if it is a Buddhist temple, or a Taoist temple, or what else temples there are. Yeah, if you say then that God does not dwell in buildings made out of hand. You see, Bruce Lee's intellectual curiosity led him to branches into new areas of inquiry. He took 2 courses in psychology and 2 philosophy classes. The two subjects became lifelong passions. After college, he added hundreds of philosophy and psychology books to his personal library of over 2,500 books, carefully reading and transcribing his favorite passages in his notebooks. His favorite authors included Thomas Aquinas. And I said, oh no, just wait.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, the father of the Roman Catholic Church, who tells you that there is no inherent right of possession. I remember from a reading I said I have taken notice of that South African guy who was in the SDH, that famous guy. Oh, what's the name? World famous. Jörg is always talking about when it comes down to, he's using the wrong Bible. The most famous SDA preacher, Walter Veit.
Oh, Walter Veit. Oh,
Yeah.
gee.
Walter Veit. Ask Walter Veit and he will come up with this stuff. In his notepads, Bruce copied down passages from his favorite authors, Plato, Hume, Descartes, and Aquinas. From Western tradition and Lao Tzu, Chuang Tzu, Miyamoto, Musashi, and Alan Watts from the Eastern. One of his most important influences was the renegade Indian mystic Jiddu Krishnamurti. Selected as age 14 by the Occultist Theosophical Society as the predestined world teacher. Of course he has to reject his role as a world teacher because truth is a pathless land. Bruce knew by heart the Ave Maria and other Catholic prayers. I guess that he would have known that Saint Francis prayer. He could recite long biblical passages from memory. Despite his resistance, the Catholic brothers at La Salle had pounded Christianity into his head. That's incorrect, huh? These are Catholic brothers. They had pounded Catholicism into his head. But unlike his mother, he was not a believer. He was an atheist, perhaps because he could not tolerate the idea of an authority higher than his own. When asked by Esquire magazine if he believed in God, Bruce replied, to be perfectly frank, I really do not. If his friends brought up the subject, he would joke, I don't believe in anything, I believe in sleeping. There is one interesting video, and then we close this section here off. It's called Bruce Lee in Hell. I saw Bruce Lee in Hell, testimony of Brother Slim from Malaysia. It is not that I would recall that statement here word by word. It is just interesting that every time that subject comes up with Bruce Lee in Hell, people there make their comments, and most people got it right, His last movie was called Enter the Dragon, and they make the announcement of Revelation 12:9. So many other people don't get it. How I don't believe you. How can a person as good as Bruce Lee, who was a great family man and a great role model, who inspired so many people, go to hell? Because the questioning man or woman, naming himself Red Drago, obviously does not know anything about the Bible. Who was a great family man, yes, and has a definite chief aim goal. I. It's always me. It's not that we see him in hell, but he was not saved by faith. He was not objecting to Jesus Christ being the way, the truth, and the life. So that's a problem in it. And mostly the people got it right here in the comment section. It's not the testimony; it's just the reaction to it, which was keeping me busy here. Is Bruce Lee in hell? Bruce Lee does not believe in anything but himself. Only God knows. But he was not promoting and he was not preaching the gospel to every creature. He was preaching his gospel to every creature, into their body. But we will see, but it is not the way of Bruce Lee which will save you, because he said that the truth has no path, but it is Jesus Christ.
Yep, that's right.
Speaking about philosophy, people also overestimate the stuff. because all these martial arts claim that they have a certain philosophy in it, and they love philosophy, but it's just in biblical terms, it's just vain deceit, because it's not a real philosophy. It's just like the being enlightened. You see, martial arts is just the art of hitting somebody. Yeah, nobody in this martial arts scene is doing anything just for self-protection or to help others. But in their movies, you see the evil things they are being promoted. Yeah, that's the sad thing of it. Yeah, so a lifetime martial arts is a noble spiritual path. You see, this is it's hilarious, yeah, because it is a martial art is a physical art, yeah. Anything else is spiritual, but to combine it with a spiritual path, you just need an excuse for just hitting and kicking people, yeah. I dare to say this. Yeah, it's not just to feed the hungry and to help the poor. It is just for your self-proclaiming that you are a master of something, Brett.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the amount of books does not say anything about your intellectual status. Only in this world. Yeah. So this is an argumentum ad populum. Yeah, which means a majority argument. Yeah, it does not say that these books have any value other than to think yourself as a supreme being. Yeah, so you see that this is just somebody who's presenting his knowledge to you, or his science. Knowledge actually means science, or science means knowledge. Yeah, the source book in Chinese philosophy, and he was just having things copied out of the books, and then he has made his own book. Yeah, sad to say. So this is the engravement on his in the cemetery, Brett. Your inspiration continues to guide us towards our personal liberation. And then you got on the left hand, you got a Taoist symbol, yin and yang.
Yeah, it looks pretty, doesn't it?
Personal liberation. From any bounds, from any orders, from any commandments, huh?
Right.
Yeah, you shall be gods. That's my understanding in it. So this is on the grave of Bruce Lee, and right, it's on the grave of Brandon Lee. Yeah, and it's just all another philosophy. Yeah, how many more times will you remember a certain afternoon of your childhood and some afternoon? And you see, that won't help anybody, not for the internal life. Yeah, this is just, it's in every case, it's worshipping the self. Yeah, it sounds like awareness training of Buddhists to me. When Bruce Lee was asked about his religious affiliation, he replied, none whatsoever. And when asked if he believes in God, he said, to be perfectly frank, I do not. Yeah? So, he's flashing Manu Cornuta to Chuck Norris. He's flashing it to John Saxon. These must all be coincidences that I found, huh? Must all be coincidences. Yeah, also the famous V sign, which reminds me here, the V sign for victory, Brett, in the Satanic word, reminds me also of the horns of the golden calf altar.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, so that's why I copied this V from the extraterrestrial, of course, on top of this original altar, which you can find in Saudi Arabia. Because Saudi Arabia has protected famous historian places where Moses dwelt with the Israelites, and then the Israelites, under the guise of the high priest Aaron, they have fallen away and did not want to wait for Moses for the Ten Commandments, but instead they were just worshipping and building this golden calf, and this is the golden calf altar. So it is in plain sight. If you strive for the truth, you can of course look for martial arts movies and all the stuff of entertainment all day long, but what about going to the real thing of it all? to the real source of truth. The Bible is true. It's truth. Yeah, but we are just surrounded by all these Satan worshippers here, and sometimes people do not know that they are Satan worshippers. Yeah, because everybody is doing the things that they flash on television and say, oh yeah, it's cool, it just means rock on or what else. Yeah, we are just surrounded with Roman symbology all over the place, not only Concordia or Apollo or Colosseum. Yeah, it's also justice. Yeah, Justitia, justice. Yeah, the statue of justice in Germany, and it's everywhere. Yeah, these people are worshipping images and idols. If you are worshipping Buddha, you're not worshipping Jesus Christ. If you are worshipping Taoism, you're not worshipping Jesus Christ. If you are worshipping millions of Indian gods, you're certainly not worshipping Jesus Christ. And that's the problem with the word God. Maybe you know this famous Swedish group of the 1970s and 80s called ABBA. ABBA does not only mean Agneta, Björn, Benny and Annifried, so the four letters of their names, but ABBA in Aramaic means father, because that is a word which has been officially been printed in the King James Bible. Look at this, ABBA means father. And that are one reason for the fact that ABBA was extremely successful. From their biography, they say, when they rise to be a supergroup, one of the members, the female one called Annafried, she was trying to, about her life, she was becoming a vegetarian, and she was being busy with the teachings of the spiritual Indian leader Krishnamurti. And Krishnamurti is here depicted as the Maitreya, as the savior of Annie Besant. Yeah, in the beginning of the 20th century. Now, this is Krishnamurti, this is Annie Besant. Annie Besant, on the other hand, was a 33-degree Scottish Freemason, le droit romain. And she was in a Theosophical Society after she has been known the readings of Helena Petrova Blavatsky, another theosophist, which means to mix theology together with philosophy, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And afterwards, then this Krishnamurti, he quit the Theosophical Society. And between that, she has it has been founded the Order of the Rising Sun, the Order of the Star of the East, and they have a cult of Krishnamurti. Yeah, and then Krishnamurti got away, and she was into believing that she was in former times she was an ape, and it's everywhere. It's the Order of the Rising Star with the pentagram. Ha ha. So that means the Order of Lucifer. In 1909, Mr. Leadbeater, so the colleague of Annie Besant, discovered that Jiddu Krishnamurti is regarded as a vehicle for the Lord Maitreya, the world teacher. The world teacher, like in the UNESCO, United Nations Education, Science and Cultural Organization, yeah, like Robert Muller's World Core Curriculum, one world teacher. Yeah, they will get one education all over the world, all Luciferian doctrine. Ye can become as gods, you can upgrade your body, become a superstar, can sing like Celine Dion, and you can jump like Bruce Lee, and whatever you wish to achieve. Yeah, they will tell you that medicine and science can do it all for you. You can become a superwoman or a superman. World Core Curriculum, the world teacher, or the world's teachings, the World Core Curriculum. Yeah, this is all theosophical. This is just mixing the holy with the profane. This is theology mixed with sophistry. Krishnamurti says, I maintain that truth is a pathless land. Yeah, this is only just sentence that you really have to recall from memory now. Truth is a pathless land. The world parliaments of religions. It's like one world religion. And that is not a new idea. We are talking about the 1920s or 1893. Yeah, so this is the Orde van de Ster in het Osten, that's Dutch, Netherlands. Yeah, so you see pentagrams, you see everywhere. Yeah, and now please compare the teachings of Yida Krishnamurti. So please, Brett, compare the teachings of Krishnamurti with the teachings of Bruce Lee in comparison with the teachings of the King James Bible.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Truth has no path. That's what Bruce Lee said. Wow. Okay, yeah, Luke 3:4, as it is written in the book of the words of Isaiah the prophet, saying, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord, make his path straight. And then John 14:6, Jesus say unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes unto the Father but by me. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just, I think, extremely clear that Bruce Lee has his philosophy from other philosophers before him. Yeah, so to regard him as a big philosopher, it's just not correct. I'm not taking anything away from his physical abilities. But although he has studied philosophy and he contained, I do not know how many thousands of books, yeah, this is just really a ripoff, and on that regard, of Jiddu Krishnamurti. So there were people before him who came up with the same idea that truth is a pathless land, so there's nobody who can lead you.
Right.
Yeah, so he could not become the world leader because he says that he's a pathless land, and Jesus Christ says truth has no path. Yeah, or in other words, when Jesus says that I'm the way and the truth and the life, that means that Krishnamurti would claim that Jesus is a pathless land, or Bruce Lee would claim that Jesus has no path.
Right. That sounds right. Yeah, because they're in the spirit of Antichrist, Michael.
Yes. And the spirit is Antichrist, as well as this female singer from ABBA, yeah, who's into Krishnamurti. Yeah. Krishnamurti, the spiritual force behind Bruce Lee. In the teachings of Krishnamurti, Bruce Lee discovered the true foundation of his style, Jeet Kune Do. You cannot look through an ideology through a screen of words, though hopes and fears, so say Krishnamurti. Applying this to the martial arts, Bruce Lee finds you cannot express and be alive through static put together form, etc. Yeah, that's just about the worship of the self, yeah? So we're talking about a satanic word who takes every means possible to distract you from the word of God. Yeah. So what does it mean when the female singer here, Anafrid, the dark one from ABBA, means father? Yeah, but they don't tell you that it's an Aramic word, so they claim it's just about their 4 initials. Yeah. She has a quote, and she said, I also have a very strong faith in God. And I always claim that the word God has no copyright. Yeah, she says, I've realized that I'm a very strong woman. I have also very strong faith in God. I guess that's what helped me through this. Yeah. And then it was revealed that she was in a lawsuit against Marcus Bongard, a Polish-born Shaolin monk and founder of the Buddhist temple and health resort Youngtorp in Sweden. And Frida, no stranger to alternative medicine and philosophies, first got in touch with Mr. Bogart when her husband became ill, and she subsequently became Bongard's Qigong pupil. The connection led to Frida and Henry Smith inventing £4.5 million in the construction of the Youngtorp temple. So they did not ask God to pray to God, but they constructed a temple for more than £4 billion. That's a bit more than $4 million. Can you imagine that? This is ABBA, the world famous group ABBA from Sweden. Yeah, one of them is into Krishnamurti and just construction a temple for more than £4 million. Yeah, these are all not worshippers of the Bible. Otherwise, they would not be in that position. Ah, it's very good that she's holding a tambourine here. Yeah, the only number one hit that ABBA had in, I think it was 1976, bred in the United States of America, was Dancing Queen. Feel the beat of the tambourine is the refrain. Yeah. So, any more questions? I did so many sessions in German about it. Yeah, so that's it in this session here. We have talked about all the movies, or majority of movies, and we have talked about philosophy. We have talked about that they try to sell you Kung Fu as a spiritual thing, and they try to sell you that if an average guy, a skinny, short guy, can become a world hero, a superhuman, and all the stuff. Yeah, these are people out there who are telling you all these lies. Yeah, like Sadhguru. And they are all worshipping images and idols, and at least they are worshipping themselves because they want to make it big in the world. Yeah, so they are millionaires, all on the path. Yeah, how to say that? Millionaires on the path that they want to achieve world fame and riches. And Bruce Lee, in his chief main goal, he said that I would have 10 million in my possession to it, and then after that achieve inner harmony and peace. Yeah, but not before he's got 10 million in his possession. Yeah, that's the condition. And let me tell you that this Anna Frida girl, after the loss of her daughter in a car accident, if I remember correctly, she married a real prince in Europe, and her fortune is estimated to be around $200 million. And that is also the same girl, and you find it maybe very strange, but it isn't very strange, who has the lead vocals on one of the most famous songs of ABBA, which is called Money, Money, Money. Must be funny in a rich man's world. Yeah? So that is Anna Frida here, or Frida in short. Yeah? Talking about money. Talking about money, and then afterwards she married somebody who got cancer. Then they built a temple for more than £4 million, and when that poor guy then died, she achieved to be the heiress of a fortune of more than $200 million. So that's just a little bit more than Bruce Lee would have achieved it, I think. Yeah, but she did not achieve it by work, but she just achieved it by marriage. So women are sometimes much more clever than guys. Huh? Definite chief aim. Yeah. I will live the way I please and achieve inner harmony and happiness. Yeah, with 10 million bucks. Yeah, everybody's chasing you. Everybody wants to have some part of the 10 millions, but he will achieve inner harmony and happiness. That is bound to money. So, thank you for holding on to me. Thank you for your patience, Brett, and handing it over to you, my beloved brother in Christ.
Yeah, Michael, you know, I was thinking about this study we did on the book of Acts, and there's a chapter in Acts that really explains a couple things. You know that old man that we have, the old woman, if you're a female. When you become a new creature in Christ, you give away the old and you put on the new. You put on the armor of God. You understand these things. You study these things. You take them seriously. And here in Acts 17, verse 30, and this chapter is a great chapter. I often refer to it. Maybe I should just read the whole chapter. Well, let's just start with Acts 17:22. How does that sound? Yeah. Acts 17:22. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, Ye men of Athens, I perceive that all things ye are too superstitious. For I passed by and beheld your devotions. I found an altar with this inscription, To the unknown God, whom therefore ye ignorantly worship, him I declare unto you. God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands, neither is worshipped with men's hands, as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things, and hath made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, not the planet, right, Michael? And hath determined the times before appointed, the bounds of their habitation, that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him, and find him, though he be not far off from every one of us. For in him we live and move in our being, as certain also of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. For as much then as we are the offspring of God, we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone, graven by art and man's device. And the key verse, and the times of this ignorance God winked at, but now commandeth all men everywhere to repent, because he hath appointed in a day in which he will judge the world in righteousness by that man whom he ordained. Wherefore he hath given assurance unto all men, in that he hath raised him from the dead. And when they heard of this resurrection of the dead, some mocked, and others said, we will hear thee again of this matter. So Paul departed from among them, howbeit certain men clave unto him and believed, among which was Dionysius the Areopagite, and the woman named Damaris, and others with them. So we see that we have an ignorance. We grow up ignorant. But there are chosen few of us who question our ignorance. Question, isn't there something deeper here? Isn't there, there's something else? Am I missing it? Yeah, I think we missed it in our early portions of life, Michael. We may have had little rays of that light hit us at that time, but we really couldn't go. Go ahead, Michael.
I was just so fascinated that it started with the Mars Hill, martial arts, and I said, "Oh, yeah, that's a good find." Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You see, men of Athens. Yeah, can you imagine? Athens was the capital, or is the capital city of Greece, and Athens is where the Olympia Games started, and it's just a veneration of the body. Yeah? Spear, throwing spears, running, high jumps, and all the stuff. You see, that's all just a veneration of the body. It's very interesting, but I think that the Book of Acts is one of the most underestimated works in the Bible, and I think that it's, for some very good reasons, it's not very prominent out there, because it's just been kept under the radar for many reasons.
Oh yeah. But I'm so glad that we had that study with Jörg Lissman on this Book of Acts, because there was so much in that study. I know that Jörg had a strong focus on a very particular matter, and sadly he never really talked about it till later, much later on, that he was really upset maybe with the outcome, that he was trying to prove that the gospel did not go to the Gentiles from the point where Stephen was stoned, but in reality it did. But I think that each of us have our own set of circumstances that we are working on in our lives, in our studies, and that at times that we get struck, in just complete amazement. This is one of those chapters, Michael, that struck me in amazement. Dealing with the unknown God whom we ignorantly worship. I mean, I just think of my youth, and growing up thinking that I had real faith, whereas I really did not have any idea what real faith was at that time. I think there are a lot of people in that boat, and God has to reveal himself to you in his manner, not by the manner of anyone's opinion. This is something far deeper. And, sometimes it just resonates, and sometimes it does not. But, the truth has a certain ring to it, I think Tom Press would say. It does. It has a really strong vibrance, I would say. But yeah, Michael, I think that's a good way to close the session today. Thinking about it, that younger in life we had these idols and we had these artists that we admired, because it was something to us at that time. It was getting us through some rough times where we would just put our focus and our efforts into, I really wish I could decimate that guy that stuffed me in a locker, at school. Well, actually, sadly, it's one time I actually hit someone else, Michael. Someone did stuff me in a locker at school.
Sorry.
In junior high school.
Yeah.
And I got off the bus with him because we were neighbors, and I smacked him in the jaw as hard as I could, made him cry.
Mm-hmm.
But, sometimes you got to let people know when they've gone too far. That was a violation in my youth. I would not allow for that. My dad did teach me how to fight, and that was one instance, only one instance where I used it, but not necessarily proud of it, because, after that happened, he came back and did me in too. So
I happened to find Acts chapter this week where I was searching for, and which struck me extremely. I know that from memory, but I had to look it up, and this is Acts 7:48.
Yeah, that's right. It's howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet. Heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. What house will ye build me, saith the Lord? Or what is the place of my rest?
Yeah, what strikes me is not only the verse, but the outcome of it. Yeah, because that was Stephen who was telling the people then, and that is the outcome here.
I see. Oh, yes.
So imagine what that means if you talk about somebody of this of the Roman Catholic Church, for example, or another temple. What else kind of a temple? It's not different if it is a Roman Catholic temple, an evangelical temple, a Jehovah's Witness temple, or Königssaal, it's been said here, so it's a room of the king, or if it is a Buddhist temple, or a Taoist temple, or what else temples there are. Yeah, if you say then that God does not dwell in buildings made out of hand, they will stone you. like they did before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one of the
Right.
witnesses was Saul, later than Paul, one of the prolific apostle, Paul, who, in my humble opinion, then was replacing Judas, the betrayer. And they stoned him. Heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. What house will you build me, said the Lord. What is the place of my rest? Yeah, they could not take it. They could not take it. And I think that nothing has changed in 2000 years. If we do a session about Christopher Lee, if we do a session about Bruce Lee, whomsoever, yeah, people would like to stone us. We are destroying images and idols. We are talking bad about their idol. Millions of fanboys will get after us. Nobody wants to read the Bible. Nobody can hear the truth because they are just want to move on to worship a golden calf. Bruce Lee had problems with his eyes. One leg was longer than the other. He had issues with his health. He had a pain in the back and all the stuff. Yeah, and many, many, many things more. But he was presented for a short amount of time as the ultimate superhuman hero. And that's the picture what is being handed over to the next generation, to the next generation, to the next generation, and does not serve the man, the individual character, does not serve right. It is not the truth.
And that's why he was quoted saying, "The truth has no path."
Yeah.
Oh, how pathetic. Yeah, for Bruce, the truth had no path, I guess, because his life was a lie.
He just wanted to achieve fame, world fame, 10 million
Yeah,
bucks. And in
that's
the Bible,
right. That's all it was about. Yeah.
the Bible
My
says
definite
you
chief aim, you said, right?
can only serve God or the mammon, says the Bible. And he says, I will have
Yes.
in my possession 10 million bucks.
Yeah.
I. It's not about his family, his son, Brandon, his daughter, Shannon,
Yeah, you're
his wife,
starting to
Linda,
sound
his
like,
friends. It's all about me.
yeah, that's right. You're starting to sound like Ozzy Osbourne there.
Oh, then
Remember
we have to
that
close
song,
the session
Crazy
soon.
Train?
I'm closing close down the session. If I do not want to be.
I'm just teasing you. Trying to get a laugh out of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
it's not much to laugh about in the last
I
days.
know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
you gotta
but
laugh sometimes, even when it's an odd
Yeah,
day. It's been an odd day for you, Michael. Odd week for you,
yeah,
and you know these things do happen. I happen to have a very busy week here, and but I just hope in the end that we can rejoice and be glad in this life in what we did. That's the goal here.
about the movie when it comes down to the song "Money, Money, Money."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, it's a Rolls Royce.
Aber.
then. Yeah, it's also the vehicle which Bruce Lee wanted to have.
Oh, and he never got. Yeah. He
No, which is
ordered
very
one.
interesting because later when we move on in the sessions, we will see that Bruce Lee has a Mercedes-Benz, but the movie director he approached, Ron Shaw, he has of course a Rolls Royce because in Hong Kong the ultimate status symbol, at least in the 1970s, was a Rolls Royce.
I see. In 1970, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, nowadays maybe it's a big Tesla or Bentley or what else, I do not know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just also for the show, yeah. Ron Shaw, Rolls Royce. Yeah, of course. What do we expect? Yeah, these people are worshipping Mammon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what sets them apart. It sets them apart. You see that this is the symbol that I am a very important person, VIP, very important person. And you see that people don't get it right, because they sometimes think, yeah, okay, if you drive a Porsche like Steve McQueen, or if you drive a Ferrari like I do not know who, yeah, then you made it. No, you haven't made it unless you see in the back seat and have somebody other driving you. Yeah, you
Yeah,
need to have
right.
a servant who drives you.
A chauffeur, yeah.
A chauffeur, yeah. That's the real power, when you are ordering, instructing other peoples to be a servant. Yeah, then you're the master in the satanic world. Yeah, then you are the master. Money, money, money was long after Bruce Lee has died, but you see the strive to fortune and fame. He wanted to have a gold one. Yeah, it's all about the money. It's vain deceit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your body won't last, especially
No.
not if you are so fragile built like Bruce Lee. That won't last 20 more years. So it is just only a show off for some movie to get him into the industry. And afterwards he said that he wanted to instruct movies as a director. Now, what's in the mind of people then who wanted to play it big time with the big money, and then suddenly the servant becomes a master, huh? You would have to see it for your own eyes, and I'm promising you it will get more interesting and more interesting from now on. But maybe that's necessary, I do not know. So I'm quiet now.
All right, Michael. So thanks again for putting the session together for us today, and I think we can close it down.
Mm-hmm.
Till next time, everyone. Hope everyone's doing all right. We hope to see you then, God willing. Maranatha.